Want to just first introduce, again, Tim Lin from BeSmartee, integration partner of ours. I've known Tim for a handful of years. A handful of our lenders use them. Great point of sale solution. And we want to talk today about really how do you engage with your borrowers in a virtual world? How do you integrate CRM and POS? How do you make that seamless transaction so you can have as highest pull through from top of funnel, from processing, and from repeat customer? So to start with, what I think would be really good is, Tim, if you give us an idea about BeSmartee and what you guys are doing and your kind of point of sale solution, and we can start with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Josh. Hi, guys. This is Tim here at BeSmartee, CEO and co-founder here. So BeSmartee is a Orange County-based company. We provide a true digital mortgage. And what I mean by that is we take your consumers from top of funnel, right, from the moment they're thinking about applying with a particular lender, all the way through the process to a paid appraisal in about 15 minutes. We do that by going through automation, the use of pre-population of data and big data sources, and seamless abilities to transition them through complicated mortgage workflows. That includes application, credit, product pricing eligibility, automated underwriting, initial disclosures, and even right into appraisal fulfillment, into the doorstep of underwriting and processing. We're really excited to have this opportunity to speak to y'all with our good friend Josh over in Insellerate. We have an integration that's fairly new but really powerful that we think will help you, take your consumers through a true digital mortgage experience and gain the benefits of the efficiencies, faster closing times, and also very high conversion rate, about 85% on average from the start of an application to the submission of an application. Yeah, so our company, we process about 2,000 applications a day in the current environment. And really what makes us different here at BeSmartee is we take your consumers from application to paid appraisal in about 50 minutes. That means application, credit, product pricing, eligibility, fee aggregation, initial disclosures, e-signing, appraisal integrations, credit card processing, and we put your borrowers into a state, what we call a ready to underwrite borrower. What ultimately this means for you is we will go ahead and help you reduce your cycle times by about 10 days. This also means that we will deliver to you about an 85% conversion rate. This is one of the most important numbers and metrics to take a look at. If a consumer starts an application, but they don't get further and farther and deeper in the process fast enough, you're going to lose them. And if they fall out of their funnel, you're not going to have that opportunity. So that conversion rate is something we're very proud of and happy to share with y'all. And also it's accentuated and improved upon with the integration that we have with Insellerate, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Go to the next slide. So ultimately, when we look at the ecosystem that's BeSmartee, your consumer essentially has one portal where they can start and finish and close that one loan, or you could use that one portal to engage into new applications with your brand. Whether that's a new application because they have to add a co-borrower, or whether that's a rental properties they own, or maybe they're buying a vacation home. This is then coupled with what we call an MLO command center. This allows your loan officers to essentially stay outside of the loan origination system as much as possible. So to that end, if a consumer gets stuck, if you have to rerun product and pricing, if you have to troubleshoot a file, you have to rerun credit, right? If you have to rerun AUS, maybe you found new income that the consumer left out. All these are tools that allows you to do it outside the LOS, but more importantly, it directly affects the consumer experience. So you're able to guide that consumer through the process, through that consumer experience from end to end. And of course, we also couple this with a realtor portal as well. So you can pull in your valuable realtor partners into the process so they can contribute to the closing of the loan. Not only can they use it to check status, reducing the friction in the process, for simple information updates that they require, but it also allows them to help the process as well by uploading, for example, the fully executed purchase agreement and being pulled into the process because we all work together to help our consumers get through it and close a loan. And we can go to the next slide, Josh. So the way we were able to automate everything so quickly and powerfully, essentially allowing you to go deeper and faster into the process, is with our ecosystem of integrations. Insellerate being a CRM integration we're very happy and proud with. But this also means we have title integrations, e-sign integrations, loan origination systems, VOA, VOI, VOE, you name it. These are all integrations, about 165 of them, that allows us to take all these complicated integrations, simplify it for the consumer and also your loan officer. Now, as we go to the next slide here, when we pull it all together, what you're going to notice here is the BeSmartee is the first leg of that consumer, that digital mortgage journey for your brand, for your consumers. Again, on average, about 15 minutes from the start of an application to a paid appraisal. So from the very start of an application, what you're going to notice is it's a integration with Insellerate that allows to create a lead record, an opportunity record, whatever records you're using, right, inside Insellerate, where you can start tracking the data. As the consumer moves through the application process all the way to a paid appraisal, we're collecting data in bits and pieces, right? We're going to continue to push that data over to Insellerate, and they're able to use this data, right, to re-engage consumers. Let's say they abandoned too quickly, wasn't the right time of day. They're interested, but they just need a nudge to get back into the process. Or maybe they submitted a full application and they don't understand the products being presented in front of them, and now's your opportunity to go in there as an originator, right, to go in and speak to them and help them make the best decision about the best product for their financial situation. Again, the integration seller will help listen to these data points, listen to these events, and find the right opportune times to re-engage the buyer and pull them back into your brand. Now, when that process is all said and done, in a perfect, happy path, 15 minutes, you essentially have a paid appraisal, right? This consumer is ready to go into the doorsteps of fulfillment, where pre-processing will occur. And from that moment on forward, your loan origination system will go and take over and continue the process of taking through fulfillment fully, closing, post-closing, and so forth. Now, throughout the entire process, the LOS is speaking back to BeSmartee POS. So the changes in LOS will affect the changes in the point of sale. This is really critical in buyer engagement. For example, if a consumer is chooses a 3.5% loan originally, and after speaking to your loan officer, they decide to go with 3.625, well, you make that change in LOS, that will sync down to BeSmartee. That consistency in communication and data is very important, because that consumer logs in again 15 minutes a day later, they still see 3.5. They're going to think that the trust factor will be reduced in your brand, right? So the consistency of messaging, very important. Consistency information back to the CRM, also very important as well. Just to pick up that phone, to re-engage, to speak to them about the next opportunity or another property that the buyer owns. That historic data, how the consumer traveled through the process, the data inside that, this can be really important for you to use as cues to talk to the consumer about that last product, what might be best for them for this new product that they're getting themselves into. And that really is the BeSmartee product, guys. So, if there's two things that you guys, I'd like you all to take away with here, is deeper and faster. I can't stress that enough. We'll take your consumer deeper into the mortgage process in a faster amount of time. And if we set up your process correctly, right, and we get the buyers engaged properly with the right mindset, the right motivation, we'll get a consumer through that process in about 15 minutes. Josh, with that said, unless you have any questions, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think one of the things that I really like about what we're talking about in this slide here, we're talking about, how do we make CRM, POS, in the engagement, integrations, how do we make this all work better for, first top of funnel? How do we get more leads in the door, or how do we maintain more customers in the door once we go in the process, and how do we pull through more loans through this type of engagement? Then how do we get repeat customers? And, the stat here, saving 10 days in processing on a loan is very, very impactful for a lender, right? So that's going to rapidly increase your guys' pull through. If you can shave 10 days off of your closed loans, you're going to increase your pull through by quite a bit. Really, so this top of the funnel part of really being able to engage with the customers. And as Tim said, as you create these records, you now are creating workflow and human task as well. So there's all this automation, but there's still a human element in it. And that's really where Insellerate is coming in. that's our business, is we're helping you close more loans, and in the sense of we're helping with the sales and marketing efforts of it. We handle this actually number is, I need to update it, but it's probably closer to 100,000 new applications now on a monthly basis. But we handle quite a few applications on a monthly basis. And we're helping lenders all over the country, just like lenders here on the webinar, close loans, large lenders, medium-sized lenders, credit unions, bank, independent lenders, brokers, you name it. We help a large variety of lenders out there in the marketplace, and we're really helping them with that engagement, right? So how do we create the top of funnel efficiency? So first, if someone goes on to your point of sale solution and they start an application, and you're a lender and you have state licensing, you need to have that lead then go to the appropriate loan officer who's licensed in that state. So you need a system to be able to match state licensing with loan officer distribution. So if you're getting leads, you're creating this top of funnel leads, or these leads are coming in, as loads are coming in, you need a platform that's going to say, oh, this is a California lead. These 7 loan officers are eligible for California, and it's a purchase transaction, and it's a VA loan. So these are the loan officers that have the skills to sell that loan. I'm going to distribute that lead automatically, that loan as it comes in. I'm going to alert those loan officers. I'm even going to make their phone ring. So when someone hits, hey, that 15 minutes, I mean, if you can go online and you can apply for a mortgage and get an appraisal done in the first 15 minutes, and you're able to do that, I mean, if you talk about speed of the process, if that's huge, then right after that 15 minutes, they're now talking to their loan officer, who's then saying, hey, let me help you with the rest of the transaction. Thank you for, doing a loan with us. You're really increasing that top of funnel. And that's what the system's going to do, just in the very top of the funnel. It's going to make sure that you talk to those customers right away. It's also going to then make sure if you fall out, let's say you talk to them and they don't move forward, or if they abandon the application inside BeSmartee, the system's going to engage them. Maybe they're in the middle of taking the application and they got busy. I know right now, being at home with kids and stuff, there's lots of interruptions. So something's taking place. You have to cook dinner. Someone's at the door. They stop the application. Well, the system come back and say, hey, a little text message. Hey, Sally, I saw you start the application. We'd love to be able to help you. Please click this link and complete your application. If you have any questions, give me a call. And that doesn't work, then the system can alert you to actually give that consumer a call. So it's really engaging that top of funnel. And then in the pull through is just really is constantly, engaged, staying in front of them and talking to them. And that's where, just the engagement part comes into play, is being able to, as Tim says in the beginning of the journey, you're outlining the process of how they're doing their loans, kind of what's start to finish, what's the process look like, and all this automation. Well, now behind it, how about all the automation to call, email, text, do rings, voicemail, do social media posts. So if you want to increase the top of funnel, having that integration between your POS, LOS, and CRM is crucial. Because if the consumer changes something in the POS, we need to know about it. So does the LOS. If the processor changes something, like Tim said, someone says they wanted a 3.5 versus a 3.625, or maybe they say, I want 15,000 cash out now. I thought I wanted 10, I want 5,000 more or 5,000 less. If those numbers change in your LOS or the POS, or the consumer tells a loan officer, you need the data to constantly sync with one another. So that's really one of the powers in our platform, is we're transacting that data from the LOS, POS, CRM, that's all staying in sync. So as consumers are moving through the process, they're being kept up to date, right? So that's really powerful. And most lenders out there know that right now you have systems and they don't talk, right? I just got off a call earlier with a lender we were talking to, a prospect. They have 7 different systems between POS, CRM, email platform, you name it, and none of the systems talk. So having this ability to have this up-to-date communication is very important, right? So now you can build these journeys very specifically. This person took the application for a purchase, but they haven't moved forward. This is the email, this is the Facebook post, this is the text message, this is the voicemail, this is the phone call, even this is the direct mail. This is all what's going out to this consumer to get them to the next step. Now, once they've transacted the next step, again, having that integration is important, because if that consumer calls or consumer goes in and talks to the processor, moves the file forward, now the system, all our systems know about this. So now the next step could be they're in processing, and it's, thank you for coming into processing. Here's the next steps. You've been approved, loans funded, all the way back to the repeat customer, right? How do you continue to take this customer from new customer, top of funnel, increase pull through, and then now you really drive that repeat transactions. And what I like to say is, if you give your customer, your borrower, a great experience when you first do a loan for them, there's absolutely no reason why you don't get the business time and time again. And it really starts with their first experience. It needs to be very easy for them to do a loan with you. Then you need to wow them in process and pull them through quickly. Then finally, you need to stay in front of them and engage them so that when they want to do another loan, that's easy again the second time, right? So having that seamless front end, top of funnel, really get as many customers as you possibly can. And as you increase your time to close, you're going to increase your pull through, which is going to give you more loans on the funded basis, which is just going to give you more repeat business to kind of continually drive this funnel. One of the things that, Tim and I, when we were talking about this, is kind of how do we make this all, work kind of seamlessly. Tim, I know you had some thoughts about, I know on your end, one of the things of just the data validation. Now, as a lender, how important it is that something as simple as if the address is Main Street, STREET, or Main Street, ST, or Main Boulevard, or Beach Boulevard, or Avenue, or my name is Joshua N. Friend on title versus just Josh Friend, all those little bits of information from the very end, top of the funnel, you guys are automating that data validation and really cleaning that up. And how does that impact just top of funnel and pull through in this?
Yeah, it's a huge impact, Josh. We believe in a really simple concept that I think we're all familiar with: garbage in, garbage out. So if you spend all this money and you create this huge top of funnel, and if you're getting garbage into that, whether it's a name or invalid phone number, all this automation is not going to mean anything, right? We can push a record over to your system, but if it's a phone number and the email is a disposable email, you can never reach them. What good was that really for, right? So you spend this money, they start into the POS. We're going to validate contact information, what we call continuous data validation. Is that a disposable email? Is an email that's legitimate? Maybe we should just straight reject it because this is probably likely a spammer. Is the phone number even accurate? Or is the name is accurate? Because we're going to go ahead and pull credit fairly quickly in the process. That's completely automated. But before we do so, we need the name, the date of birth, and the address to be right. Otherwise, the bureaus may not come back with a hit. And by starting with that data integrity at the top of the funnel, you get more value from the partners, from the integration. You have your loan officers, right, focus on the real deals. Rather than spending 10, 15% of their day combing through stuff that's not going to go anywhere, now they can put their energy where it's going to be, return fruit. So absolutely really important that we do that at the very top of the funnel, Josh.
Yeah, and that's something that from, you made a good point, just from the engagement, by having that data validation at the top of the funnel, how do you make this really efficient? It is going to give the CRM and engagement platform better information on contacting, emailing, texting. So you're right, you're going to spend more efficient time, your loan officer's time on what, loans that can fund our potentials. And then, so that's, great, the top of funnel. And then in processing, we all know, I've been in this business for 21 years. At the end of the day, sometimes you have to redo disclosures because of the homeowner's insurance deck page or somewhere, some form had someone with the middle initial or had the wrong address. And, it's because there wasn't data validation at the top of the phone. Then all of a sudden you're 20 days into it and you go, oh, shoot, I got to repull my CAVERS number. I got to get my IRS 456 transcript. I got to redo that because the addresses have to match. And you have to go back, delay 3 or 4 days, maybe a possible rate lock. So this is why, having this front end integration and having this data validation was also going to help you speed up. That's why you're helping lenders close loans 10 days faster, right? Because that has to be a big part of it. So just the increased data validation, also, using our platform with it in conjunction is the communication. So having in the process from the top of the funnel, how do you validate the data, and then how do you communicate with the consumer to speed the transaction up and make it go faster? There's a lot of, people will, I was buying my car insurance recently or redoing car insurance, and I called my original agent and he kind of said, well, let me get back to you in a day or two. And it took him 2 days to give me a response. But at the same time, It's super easy these days to go get car insurance, go online and look at a quote. And whoever got back to me was quickest, had the best technology, got that transaction. Right? The person who waited because they thought they knew me, they could get the business again, they lost the business. So, having this quick, easy way for people to do a loan with you, to be able to then get them into processing and increase their pull through. We did a study a few years ago that for every 1% or for every 1 day, a lender was able to reduce their days in closing. So if you went from 40 days to 38 days, we saw a 1-for-1 increase in conversion. So if it would reduce their days to close by 1 day, we saw their pull through increase by a day. If we reduce their days to close by 5 days, we increase their pull through by 5%. That's what the increase was. So it's really, really, really impactful. From the very beginning of, you're going to get more customers because you're engaging them correctly. You're going to get them in the door. Then once they're in the door, you're going to fund more of them because the data is validated, it's done correctly, and you're going to close them faster. We all know time can kill all deals, right? I mean, think about people who are about to close transactions before the coronavirus happened. Well, what happened to those borrowers who are ready to sign the day that they said there's no mobile notaries going out to people's homes, right? Everyone stopped lending. If you would have had that loan 3 days earlier, they would have signed, it would have funded. There's just time kills deals. If you give deals too much time, the pull through goes down. And it's kind of like, it's like milk in the refrigerator. It has an expiration date on it. You have to use it before you get to the expiration date. So having that front end validation is going to be very impactful. And then when we get into the borrower engagement, again, having those communications back and forth is what's going to keep the pull through. It's going to help you bring top of funnel down as well. The last thing that we want kind of to talk about was just the seamless integration, best of breed technology, and how does that create your customers for life? Tim, what are you seeing? Is that as easy as a lender, once the transaction closes and through our platform at 6 months, we can push them out an additional application or link and say, hey, why don't you apply again? Rates are low. And it's that easy to create the transaction again for kind of a customer for life. Is that what you're seeing?
It is. So, you close that first loan, probably the only loan they can do for the next 5 years, right, on average. But let's say you do come across a borrower who has multiple properties or helping their son buy a new home. Well, the son's going to go to the parents, right? You're going to go to, the other family members now in the household who've gone through this process before, right? We can't discount trust whatsoever, trust and expertise. Now, assuming you are re-engaging with a new borrower, they could be buying a new home or buying a second home, et cetera. Well, all that data that's in the system, in the POS from 30 days ago, 60 days ago, even half a year ago, it's still there. It's your data. You can reuse that data to clone and spin up a new application. And then you could, then the process changes. Just like the example that Josh used about the car insurance. It should have been as easy as, well, Josh, do you still work here? Do you still have this car? Let me give you some pricing. Do you want to do it? Right? So that's how you could re-engage, right? And we all know it costs a lot of money to bring in that first borrower. So that we better do as much work as we can to keep that borrower. But the second deal is more profitable. The third deal is even more profitable. So by easing them into the process, it changes it, right? Again, data, like you said, is king. Sir, do you still work here? Was there anything that happened to your marital status, right? Great. Let me go and spin it up for you. Let me run product and pricing. Let me show you what's available today for your scenario. And it's a simple rule of thumb: less keystrokes, less thumbs up on your phone, less clicks of the mouse, less pages, less questions to answer, a better experience, a more seamless experience. They don't feel like they're being grilled and getting interviewed again. And you're going to get a borrower, and you're going to see increased conversion. In fact, one of the things to really think about here is, traditionally we run about 85% conversion. That means when you start an application to the moment you submit an application to TRID 6 data points, right? It's about 85% throughout the year. In this low interest rate environment, surprisingly, what we're seeing is north of 90%. On average, we're at about 90%. Some days we hit about 92%. And it's that intent, it's that carrot. And those carrots don't happen often. In this case, it's a pandemic, that there's a low interest rate environment. We can't bank on that to grow a business. But there could be other events that act as a carrot, right? Could be purchase, just got married, want to buy that first new home. got divorced, got to sell a home and get into something smaller. There's a lot of these life events. So when people have intentionality, they're going to finish it. And what you need is, right, you want to make that intentionality as easy as possible for them. So you can go through that as quick as possible. Like Josh said, time kills all deals. Even a day or two makes a huge difference. And one more thing I'd like to add here before I pass it over is, we started this conversation, right, with data is king. And it's a bit of a cliche, but so true, right? But the hidden thing here, I think we're not thinking about, is the compression of the processes. Right? If you just want to take a 1003, hand off to a loan officer, and they can manually run pricing and manually pick up the phone and call borrowers, that's a fantastic model. You're going to be able to close great loans there, right? But bear in mind what you're competing against. You're competing against our clients who are trying to compress that model. So the time it takes someone to log into a product and pricing engine and run scenarios and copy and paste and send off to borrower, your competitors could have already collected a paid appraisal. And with a compression timelines, right, that creates new opportunities, but also new challenges that a proper integration with a CRM, for example, will help accentuate and take advantage of.
Tim, you make a great point, which is there are plenty of lenders out there right now that are doing none of this, and they're making money because it's like manna falling from the sky. If you will, it's free money in the sense of there's this opportunity out there with refinances. But as time goes on, and as you said it, there's lenders, and I can tell you lenders that are on our platform that are using technology like this to what you said, to compress the timeline to close loans and to create more efficiencies. And you're going to be competing against those lenders. So if you're not doing this, you're going to be at a great competitive disadvantage. A year or two from now, your business model is not going to work like it does today. These are tools you have to have in place. One of the things as I heard, Tim mention, the idea of, hey, I call in the lender for a second loan. They already have my information. It's cloned. I can just start the transaction from where I started from before. I mean, that simple level of customer service in any industry is lacking. We all have the experience. We call in for a question, and then they ask us, well, let me transfer to someone else, and then they re-verify the same information a second time or a third time. No one likes that interaction. But when you deal with someone and they already have your information, that trust it builds, the ease of use that it builds is why lenders and companies get more and more repeat business. Right? Only 1 in 4 customers goes back to the original lender. Why is that? Why is 75% of the time would your customer go with somebody new? When in reality, if you close a loan for someone, they've just given you all their financial information, their social security, where they work, everything about them. They don't necessarily want to go do that with another person. So if you can build that trust and you can make it easy for them, you're going to drive repeat business and transaction business over and over again. And think about being able to actually offer your borrowers like a true Amazon experience or a true Apple experience where everything's integrated. So when you're buying something, they already know who you are. They know where to ship to you. They know your preferences. Same thing with using technology like this, right? What once was right, Tim? Gee, wouldn't it be great someday if someone could do all this, right? And there was a few lenders who spent millions of dollars and were doing part of it. Has now turned into, you can help any lender do this. We can help any lender do this, right? You don't have to have millions of dollars anymore to go out and to put this in play, because people like BeSmartee, people like Insellerate have spent tens of millions of dollars to make this happen so everyone can go out there and use it and scale it. I recently signed up for Masterclass, which is something you guys, there's lots of advertisements on. There's a lot of great different people teaching things. And I told my sister about it, and she said, gee, I love to do that. And I told her about this cooking one I took, and she asked me, hey, how much was the class? I said, well, it was $180 for the year. She says, $180 for the class for the year. So no, $180 for every class, for everything, for the entire year. And she was blown away. Like, well, that Thomas Keller cooker, he's probably $1,000 to do a workshop with him. He's world famous. How in the world can I pay literally a penny or $1 to watch him? Well, the truth is scale. Just like software as a service, you come to someone like BeSmartee, they've spent millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they help other lenders. So the scale of economies of software as a service and cloud computing makes us available for any lender, just like with what we do, right? So our scale and the fact that we transact with Tim, you're transacting with 50,000 plus applications a month. We are as well. Those data points, understanding how we can work with best practices. So picking partners that have great integrations and picking partners who understand where the market's going is really, important right now in this marketplace. So, our lenders, we have a lot of lenders are winning. I know, Tim, you guys have a lot of lenders that are really growing and winning right now as well. So, what you should be looking for, guys, is look for integrated solutions. Think about the top of funnel, mid of funnel, then repeat customers. Good seamless integrations, as Tim said, garbage in, garbage out, right? Good front end data validation, good upfront communication, great communication timelines and processing, great service and great communication, and will drive you repeat customers time and time again. Loan 2, loan 3, loan 4, that's where all the extra money is made, right? So if you're in this business and you're in this business to be in this here, you want to be in a lender, and a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you have to do this because your competitors are. So if you don't do this, you'll be at a massive competitive disadvantage and you won't be able to compete in the markets that come in the future. Tim, I want to say thank you very much for this. Very informative, just what's available and just the thought of what lenders can actually do now. Like, these are things we can actually do. So Tim, thank you for hopping on here. And if you guys have any questions for Tim or for myself, you can always reach out to us at our information's here on our website or on the slide here. Reach out to us. Go to Insellerate. You can go to BeSmartee.com, either one of those. Love to hear from you, see how we can help you. Request a demo if you want to see our product individually and be able to see what it would cost you, so forth. Just please request demos from either one of us. We'd be more than happy to help you. Tim, really appreciate it.
Josh, appreciate it as well. Thank you for taking the time. And for the audience here today on the webinar, thank you all for taking the time out of your busy day as well. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Well, have a great week. Thank you.